This is a tougher example because we've got secant cubed x over tan x, and it doesn't really fit into either one of the two things we've used before, because the power of secant is not even, and the power of tangent, well, it is odd, but it's in the denominator, so that doesn't really help us. So when this kind of stuff happens, there are a few things that you need to do. One is maybe use some ingenuity, maybe rewrite some stuff using this formula. Another one is, this is a formula sheet that has all the formulas that we need. And there's a handful of integrals on here. Secant cubed by itself is a pain to do. So if you ever run into secant cubed, you can just use this formula for it. But if you run into integral of secant or cosecant, you can use these. But we're not to the point yet of being able to use any of those. We need to rewrite this somehow. So what I want to do is I want to rewrite the secant cubed. I want to take one of those, I want to rewrite secant squared using this, and then we'll still have a secant on it. So let's rewrite this as secant squared x secant x over tan x dx. Let's replace that secant squared with tan squared plus 1 over tan x. And I'm going to distribute that secant through there. So we get secant x tan squared x plus secant x over tan x dx, written in very small at the end. All right, so now let's take this and rewrite it. Or actually, I'm going to break it into two integrals. This bit, the tan will cancel, and so that just leaves us with secant x tan x. And then the other integral is secant x over tan x. So we've turned this into two integrals, and we can attack these individually. The first one is actually a very simple integral to do. We're integrating secant x tan x. That immediately gives us secant. And you know what I like to do? When I break stuff into two different integrals, I like to put a squiggly line between them. That gives us secant x immediately. Now this one over here, let's we got to figure out what to do with this. Secant over tan. There's not a quick substitution or anything we can do, but what we could do is rewrite this in terms of sines and cosines. Remember, secant is 1 over cosine, and tan is sine over cosine. So we could rewrite that as, let's see, it's 1 over cosine times the reciprocal cosine over sine. So we can rewrite this as 1 over sine, or that's also cosecant. And how can we integrate cosecant? Well, that's one of the formulas on this formula sheet. The integral of cosecant is this. So I'll use this formula. Actually, I'm not going to rewrite it. I'm just going to use the formula here. So my final answer is secant x plus natural log absolute value of cosecant x minus cotan x plus c. And that's it.